Look, y'all, look what I've got. I have got easy, cheesy enchiladas, and that is what I'm cooking today. Easy, cheesy enchiladas. And you can find the recipe for easy, cheesy enchiladas right here in my book, Happiness is Homemade, and it's on page 62. It's really easy. I've been making this for my family for a long, long time, and I'm gonna tell you, y'all try it, okay? Try it. It's easy. I'm gonna show you how to do it, but while I'm showing you, I've got a guest today. A really special person, Mark White from the Mark White Show, is joining me today in the kitchen. And he has his own cooking history, but anyway, he's here today to talk to me and while we cook. So y'all sit down a spell, get you a cup of coffee or some tea, and let's welcome Mark White. Yay!
Thank you, Dana.
Welcome.
Glad to be here this morning. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be in your home. Happiness is homemade, and I'm glad to be able to do this morning.
That's right. Now, y'all will notice that he is wearing something other than his normal
Ta-da!
White Show shirt. But this is my husband's apron here, and it's a deputy sheriff
Thank
apron.
you, David. I appreciate this. I feel like back when I was serving in law enforcement. You know, most of the towns wear this these days, right?
Yeah. Well, Dad, my husband was in law enforcement for years, and so were you. And
That's how we met.
Anyway, this is how I get him in the kitchen. When I need him to help, he does not want to wear a frilly apron. So I've got him one that looks like a deputy sheriff thing.
And I do want to thank you for something. Years ago, and Cora is now 8 years old.
Yes.
But when she was a teeny weeny baby, we were at a Police Benevolence Association meeting down on the Gulf, and Dana made Cora a little boggin.
A little tiny hat.
Yes, and what else was it that went with it? Because it was a hat, and there may have been something else.
Was it a blanket?
It was there was a small little blanket, I believe, that matched it.
That you could.
But me and April appreciated that so much, and the gift for Cora, it meant a lot, and that helped establish our friendship really quick. And thinking about gifts, taking food to somebody, that establishes a lot of friendships. When we take some food, I remember a friend of mine, he used to make buttermilk pies. His name was James Martin, and when I was a little kid, it was a picture of a man who was cooking. To me, I always saw my grandmother and my great-grandmother, but I saw a man cooking, and I thought, okay, I can do this. And he was bringing us something that was special, and we enjoyed it, and it showed his love for us.
It did. Well, it's funny you should say that, because my mom and dad have been doing what I call the turnip green ministry for years and years. And before that, it was my grandfather. And they will have a spot of turnip greens, pick them, wash them, cook them, and carry them to somebody who's having a bad go right now. Life's knocked you down, or somebody's sick. So, they bring you turnip greens. And if you have ever washed turnip greens, you have to wash them a long, long time and all that type of stuff. The story of the turnip green ministry is in this book, as well as this book. Both of my cookbooks have it in there. And, it inspires us to help other people. We got to help other people, and then when we're having a rough go, they'll help us get through.
That's right.
So that's just something that's important to me right now. But we're making enchiladas today, and I already made one so that we could look at it and eat it shortly. But I'm going to show you and walk you through my enchiladas right quick. And I've kind of got to rearrange things just a little bit so you can see this. And like I said, this is on page 62 of my book. It's available on Amazon. And y'all, thank you for everybody who's been buying the book, because it has been going through the roof, and I've been in the top 100 a long time on Amazon for cookbooks, for Southern cookbooks, not just cookbooks, for Southern cookbooks. So anyway, this is the Alabama stuff, and we just got to pass it on. And if you've got a recipe from your family member that you like, y'all write it down. If they don't measure stuff like mine didn't, get in the kitchen with them and watch them, but don't get in their way. My nanny wouldn't allow us in her way, but we could watch her.
And I'll mention this too, Dana, because people are going to lose pictures. You think about a phone, and that's where we store everything.
Yes.
If you have recipes and you put them in your notes on your phone, you can easily lose them.
Yes.
So the suggestion of doing like your grandmother and your great-grandmother did, to put it on cards and then put it in a little metal box, is a good idea to be able to keep those recipes long after we're gone. Our family members can still pass them down physically.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I'm not going to pass my phone. It's like, here, Cora, here's my phone. Look for the recipes. They're all in there somewhere.
That's right. And I will tell you as well, when I started doing the cookbook, I knew I had to have my nanny swans chicken and dumplings in it. My niece one, she made chicken and dumplings for everybody, and every time we had a thing at church, she had to bring them, or she might as well not show up.
The disappointment.
Yes, and I've been sitting with her in church before when people would come up and whisper, you know, this is before preaching, they'd come up and say, Lorraine, did you bring the dumplings? And she would say, I brought them, and she would just get that grin on her face. Well, when she passed, she had not written the recipe down. So, my journey to find the recipe as a biology teacher, trying to figure out exactly which increments of what, it's all here in my book. And y'all, if you've got people that you love and you want those recipes, get in there and write them down. Or like I said, watch them, because we don't want to get in our nanny or granny's way, but we do want to see what they're doing, and we can figure it out when we get at home. All right, let me talk to you about the cookbook and what's going on. I'm going to tell you the increments of everything, although I'm not going to quite show you everything. I'll just show you how I wrap them. But what we have here is a pound of ground beef, refried, 1 can of refried beans, and some mild enchilada sauce, a can of Rotel, flour tortillas, sour cream, Monterey Jack, cheddar cheese, cumin, and I'm going to show you the spices I put in there.
I'm a cumin fan.
I put cumin, oregano, chili powder, and salt. And what you basically do, and I'll just pull this over here and show you. This is all my ingredients right here. Hang on just a sec. Go ahead, Mark, talk.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Can I just say that the Mark White Show, as Dana said, we want to make a difference in the lives of others, and that's what my show is based on. I asked Dana if we could get together. I'm going to do an interview with her after this is over. We're going to do an audio interview, and we're going to have some really great conversations about her cooking, her interests. I really appreciate Dana and David both, and what they have meant to us, as I mentioned before. And being here today to have an opportunity to be in their home, it does bring you a joy, just like listening about her aunt and the joy that she had when somebody said, did you bring the dumplings? Well, you know that made her aunt happy to say, I did. And just like my great-grandmother used to do. And I loved watching my great-grandmother and my grandmother cook, and that, of course, influenced me in my cooking.
Well, that's true. I love being in the kitchen and watching people cook. And I'll tell y'all, when I was a young married, and I realized I needed to help the budget, I realized that chicken was cheaper if I bought it whole rather than buying it in pieces. And so what I ended up doing, I called my mama one day and I said, you know, Mom, I need to know how to cut up a chicken. And she said, okay, next time I do it, I'll get a hold of you. So she called me the next time she was going to cut up a chicken. And I didn't touch the chicken. I just stood beside her and watched her do it. And she explained it. And that way I could buy more chicken for the family because I could cut it up and I knew how to do it. And that's how you learn from people. And that's why we have you in the kitchen, so you can cook with us. Somebody told me one time that they had this person that was getting married and they didn't know how to cook, and they said, you go watch this lady right here. It's like you're, and talking about me, it's like you're in the kitchen with your Southern mama. I said, oh, I would love to be your Southern mama.
And by the way, whole chicken is still less expensive than having it cut for you.
That's right. Well, I'm going to show you or walk you through what we're doing with the enchiladas. If you can see this pan right here, what I ended up doing is browning the ground beef and pouring off any fat, and then putting in my can of refried beans, putting it in there with the spices, and just getting it good and warm through and through. So you put your spices in there as well, the ones that I told you about. And then what we're going to do is cook it like a casserole, not in a pan or anything like that. We're going to cook it like a casserole. So I saved a little out so that Mark could get busy in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We're going to do a small pan of them since we already have the large pan that I showed you earlier. So the first thing you're going to do with your pan, and let me put it over here, is spray it, because
thank you.
Ease of cleaning. There you go. And the way I do it, because when you cut it, y'all know when you have lasagna and you just cut little squares, that's how I normally serve it, is cutting it in squares. So I just do one long strip down through there and butt them up close together is how I do it. So,
thank you, David. I'm glad to be in your home today. Thank you for the use of the apron. It looks good.
And see, he's got younger eyes than I do. I can't see all that, but he can.
I still have to have these on my face at this point.
Well, anyway, I'll show you the first one, and then we'll do another one over here. So basically, you lay this out on a plate, your flour tortilla, And I have been fussed at for saying it wrong, so it's tortilla.
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 If you really want
And
tortilla.
I would say the L's because,
No, tortilla.
You know,
Some people say tortilla.
Yeah,
I was saying on the show.
For that.
Yes, we used to have a lady that came in our restaurant years ago, and she would ask for Guatemala. Can you figure out what she wanted on her nachos?
Guacamole.
Every time, Guatemala.
Guatemala.
I never corrected her. I knew exactly what she wanted, and
There
we
you
fixed
go.
her up.
And you made her feel okay.
That's when we had Tortillas Blanco. For those who may have heard of Tortillas Blanco, we used to have a tortilla factory and a chip business, and we had chips all over the region.
Cool.
So that's part of my history.
Well, very good. Well, he can help me really well with this. So you put it down the middle, and I don't do the typical fold like you do. I'm going to fold it over like this and just lay it in there, just like that. That's one, and we'll do one more, and then we're going to doctor up the outside.
Okay.
Now, what did I do with the tortillas? There we go. And you can help me doctor up that outside there.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. We pull it over. This is such a treat for us having Mark in the kitchen with us. And like he said, we've known each other for how many years?
Well, Cora was
She's
not
9.
here yet.
Yes.
And when we met, and so we're talking over 8 years now, almost
Yes.
9 years.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna do
and
a little
that
fold.
over. Yep.
Very similar, just to a basic fold over like a burrito. We're gonna lift it up
Put it in
and put
there.
it in.
Now the next part is really simple. What we're going to do is make sure that we don't make our flour tortillas hard. So we're going to put some sour cream over them, and we're going to spread it over it, the whole thing. And I'm going to get you a spoon and let you have at it.
Jolene, good morning.
I'll stir this up. All right, here you go. And just spread it heavy over that.
I can do that.
And then I'm going to pull out some cheese. And I normally use whatever cheese I've got, but today it's shredded sharp cheddar, and it's going to be Monterey Jack. And you put what you want to put in there. Actually, I got him some out like this, if that's enough. And just spread it all the way
Perfect
over.
for this size container. This is a smaller container than the tray that you're using. So we're using a smaller one, but now look at this is 16 ounces. So if you were using a large one in a larger family, you're gonna need to make sure that you have enough sour cream to cover the entire enchilada.
Yeah, and just get all the way, the whole enchilada. I know, all the way to the edge.
We're having an enchilada fun.
Yeah, he's a word guy. Now what we have next is enchilada sauce right here, and we're gonna pour it on the top to give a little extra flavor. But before we do, we're gonna sprinkle on the cheese. Okay. There you go. You got some cheese right there. Just have that in. And we have more right here because that may not be
whatever
enough.
cheese you like. Really,
Yes.
just choose and go for it. I love cheese, and I love different kinds of cheese. So you might get creative on this too with your own style.
Your own blend.
That's right. Use your name and call it your blend.
That's right.
Say Dana's enchiladas with my cheese blend.
Let's get a little bit more Monterey Jack on
Let's
there.
do that.
Here, I'm just going to let you go for it.
This is the way I do it at the house.
Dump it on. Mark's way. Dump it on.
When you're doing a program like this, you have to do it as, where people can see at least something that gives you a size reference.
That's right. All right. I'm going to spread this out a little, and we're going to pop this in the oven for 30 minutes.
Great. That was so easy there.
I know. Very easy. And, it feeds a lot of people, too.
What if you have one 21-year-old who's 6'5" and over 300 pounds? Is that...
Oh, we forgot to put this on. Hang on.
Oh, no. What did we forget?
We forgot that.
Oh, the enchilada sauce.
There we go.
We call it cheesy burritos at this point.
Yes.
Okay, now we have enchilada sauce
Now
on
we
there.
got enchiladas, and that'll kind of spread out and melt out with the cheese.
Look at us.
Yes, we did good.
Is that everything?
I think that's everything.
Okay, we don't want to get so hot we can't just pull it out, right? Okay.
Right. And now what we're going to do is just taste a little bit of this.
Look at this.
Yes.
It's warm and it's pretty.
There you go. These are my brown drip plates that I collect. They're old and antiques, and I find them all over the place.
So does that mean you're trying to tell me to be careful?
Be careful.
They're old and antique. Did you emphasize?
They're antiques. All right, I'm just going to go in right here and get him a dollop of this.
How did you know how much I like?
I
didn't know. It's like you fed a boy before.
I have. I fed several. Let me try to get in there and make this as graceful looking as I can. Ooh, there we go.
Nice.
Now I have jalapenos. If you like dry jalapenos, I have those in the refrigerator. Do you want some?
That would be nice.
It would. Let me move this out of the way and get you a
And we'll just wish for we'll hope for the best. I'll eat the jalapenos and hope for the best. And there's probably some people out there that understand what I'm saying. I didn't take the correct medication, but I will go ahead.
What does that mean?
Prilosec.
Oh,
Every
no.
morning you take something so that you can eat what you want. Isn't that why you take it? So you can eat what you want?
I don't know. I don't take any of that. Y'all, I got some on my fingers and it's good.
Jalapenos. All right, jalapenos on the side.
On the side.
Jalapeno.
Okay. You ready to go?
Ready to give thanks.
Okay,
You'll give
let's
thanks for
do
food?
it. I do. Go
Our
ahead.
Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day. We're glad that we can be here in this home and we can show others recipes and help them in their homes to save money and to enjoy themselves with their family, because that's really important right now, that we're able to spend time with people we love and care about, to give us peace and comfort and to know that we're loved. We know that we're loved by you, Father, and we're thankful for the opportunities that we have in this life. We're so blessed. And I hope, Father, that we can look at the things that we have that you have blessed us with and want to help others to have the same. Help us to reach our arms out, to give other people the strength that they need, to know that they have the strength inside of them to be able to overcome the challenges that they face. And we pray that anything we can do that can encourage them to move forward in their life and to live a full and happy life with the hope of living with you someday. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Let's dig in.
All right.
Telling you, I have fed many a teenager this when my kids were growing up. And you have to have big meals for them.
Like my friend Vicente Ramirez in Brownsville, Texas would say, está bueno. Very good.
Very good. Well, I tell you, we love this meal. It's cheesy. And it's good.
This is great. My grandfather was a preacher. Love you too. My grandfather was a preacher, and he would take me on mission trips to Mexico with him.
Oh, wow.
And that's how, because otherwise, a guy from Alabama, why does he start a tortilla factory?
Exactly.
It was just that we would go by these little tortillerias, and I remembered it as a kid. And I was selling life insurance, or really I wasn't selling life insurance. I was doing really bad at it. And I called my grandmother one day and I said, I think I would like to make tortillas. And she said, what? I said, well, I love tortillas. We don't have any fresh ones in the area. You typically have to go to the store and buy them after they've been made long before. And so she helped me with my idea, and we started a tortilla factory. I went to Oregon to learn how to make tortillas. Oregon. There was a guy on the front of a magazine for a university there in Oregon. His name was Mario Huerta, and he was standing by a tortilla machine. And I contacted the university, and this may give somebody a tip. If you see a picture of someone or something you're interested in, maybe call the publication or call the connection to that, because that's what I did. I called the university and I said, I want to share my phone number with you, and if you would share it with Mario, let him know that I'm interested in the tortilla business.
That's really good.
A couple of days later, Mario calls me, and he let me and my wife April go up to Oregon to Bend. And I ran his tortilla equipment. He showed me how to make tortillas. Got home and he called me. He said, Mark, there's some equipment in Utah that you need. He said, I'm going to buy this part. You can buy this part and you can start your business.
Oh, wow.
And so
he helped you.
He did. He really did. He found equipment, and we found a building. We didn't even have a building when we had the equipment. We had the equipment before the building. But
well, that was
a 5-year history of my tortilla business.
Very good. Well, alrighty. Well, anyway, this is what easy cooking right here. Even though we don't have that business, we got him here today.
This is brunch. This is so good.
Brunch, yeah. But originally, he came here to talk to me some for his show about the origins of my cookbooks and how they came about. And I didn't know if you wanted to go into that now.
We can.
Okay.
It gives people an idea of where we're headed.
Yes.
So when you think about Dana and you watch her, and she's doing something a lot of people are not necessarily comfortable with, being in front of a camera, because you're afraid you might drop something.
And I do
if you were right, we're going to make mistakes, but that's human. And so if you want to do something like this, it's taking that step, because a lot of us have watched people that we love that cook food. We took an interest in it. We enjoy cooking ourselves. You, Dana, have taken the step not only just to cook for your family and cook for those you love, but then show people how to do it. And then also to put your time and energy into a book that people can take home with them, and then they can look at the recipes and I'm sure it's very similar to recipes we've seen before, where it breaks down
It is.
all the different measurements. And if you know your teaspoons and the difference in teaspoons and tablespoons, it's pretty important sometimes.
You can cook.
And you know a cup and a half a cup, you can cook.
You can cook.
I tell people, go ahead and try it. You know, it's fun to me. When I get in the kitchen, I told my wife the other day, I said, it's my love language. And I typically don't use phrases like that because it's so used. But I told her, I said, that is my love language, because I go in the kitchen and I cook something for my family and I want them to enjoy it. I want it to be something special that I gave to them. It's a gift. It's not something that'll last necessarily, but the memories last.
They do last.
And how they feel.
Yes. And I know I have a lot of memories that I have put in the book about my family and sitting at the children's table, and how much we learn about what's going on in our family just by sitting at the children's table. And it's important. And I'm with you. I think it shows people that we love them. And y'all, I gotta tell y'all something. Nothing makes me happier than when somebody likes my food.
Like right now.
Yeah, I mean,
And I apologize. I should be talking to you all, but right now with food in front of me, you just have to understand, because I would share it with all of you if I could. This is incredible, but the thing about it is she has shared it. So now you can take a tortilla, you can take this simple beef mix with the seasonings, put cheese on it with enchilada sauce. If you like jalapenos, put them on the side. You got a meal for tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
Folks, this is simple. Get it done. Go get some flour tortillas and get your ground beef and get a couple types of cheese and sour cream. You're ready to go.
Yeah, that's right. And then on the recipes, I didn't know. Somebody asked me, oh, you're from a long line of good cooks. I am from a long line of good cooks. And my cousins that were born in the same generation as I have been born in, most of us are really good cooks. You could come to any family get together and have some fantastic food, because our families cook and we share recipes. And so I just want you to know that that's what this is about. Happiness is homemade and time to eat, y'all. It has the love of our family, the love language of our family coming through to you. And we just hope you'll enjoy it. Now, I think you wanted to ask me how on earth I got started in the cookbook.
Yes, so when we're younger, we usually have people that get us going when it comes to cooking. We've watched someone. But to take that next step, to decide that you want to do a cookbook, to take the time and energy, because somebody can ask and you can turn them down, right? So if somebody said, hey, Dana, we know you can cook. We'd love for you to contribute. You might say, I'm not really comfortable with doing that. What led you to go ahead and take that big step?
The big step. Okay, well, first of all, I don't know if a lot of the people know this, but my husband is a state representative. And as a state representative, when we go places, people are always wanting his card and my card. And I don't have any cards. I'm a retired teacher. Teachers I don't hand out cards. And I thought, what can I put on a card that I can hand out? And guess what it was? Recipes. And so I would put recipes on the card, and of course pictures of my grandchildren on the back, and my name, and things like that. But that's what I would hand out. So wherever I was, be it Montgomery or be it here, if somebody said I need your card, I would just hand them a recipe card. And so what ended up happening, people would come to me and start saying, oh, have you got a recipe for this or for this? Because they knew I was handing out those cards. We've been in parades before, and people, when we're driving our 57, going through the Christmas parade, waving at people, and people are yelling, we love your yummy chicken pie, and just things like that.
Awesome.
So it's pretty good.
That is cool.
Made me feel good. But what ended up happening is, I'm going to give you a little history lesson first. When our state turned 150 years old, Mrs. Albert P. Brewer, she was the governor's wife, did a cookbook to celebrate. So this is it. I collect cookbooks, and this is the cookbook that she made in 1969. And I had this cookbook, and I love it. It's part of my cookbook collection. Anyway.
Very nice. And we talked about our love of Cotton Country as well.
Yes,
that's a cookbook.
I have that cookbook. It's a good one.
The Decatur Junior League, thank you. My grandmother had that cookbook and passed it to me, and I found one the other day for $5.
Did you?
And I ordered it. I went ahead and got it so I could give it to my daughter, Cora.
Good.
And I said so mine wouldn't leave the house, and she could have her copy.
It's a really good copy. My cousin, who lives up in that area, got me one and gave it to me. So I have it too.
It's a great cookbook.
It's a good cookbook.
Check out Miss Ray Kelly's coconut pie if you get a chance in the Cotton Country book. It is incredible.
Okay,
you can do your own twist on anything. It's great.
Well, anyway, what ended up happening is one day out of the blue, I got a phone call from some people doing the Bicentennial Commission, or from the Alabama tourist situation, tourism. They called and said, "Is this Miss Standridge?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." And they said, "Well, we hear you like cookbooks and you like to cook." And I said, "I do like to cook." And they said, "Well, we've got to come up with a cookbook to celebrate 200 years of Alabama. Are you interested to help?" And I said, "I would love to help."
No hesitation.
No, because
awesome.
I love to cook. And then I said, they said, "Come meet us." And then I went and met them. And I'm thinking this whole time I'm just helping with the cookbook. So I don't know if you know this, but from my teaching, time in teaching, I started being able to read children and how they were feeling and read their body language and know what was going on. Well, I got to this meeting down in Montgomery, and it was kind of tense. There was all different people in there, and they didn't know one another. And so the teacher in me came out, and I started telling funny food stories that had happened to our family, different food stories. And eventually, not then, but eventually down the line, they asked me to write down all my family stories, and they liked that my family had been here since 1818,
Wow.
that our family was, we've been here the whole time. So we know it's our promised land, and we were here. So anyway, eventually, they came and said, "We want you to be the author." And so I was very humbled and very honored that they thought I could do that. Whether I thought I could or not, they thought I could, and it made me very proud to be an Alabamian. See, I'm getting a little teary, but anyway, I love the state.
Me too.
And my family does, and this is our promised land, the state of Alabama is. And so we've invested so much here, and we just wanted to share the love. So that's what we did, and this was the cookbook that came out in 2019. It was called Time to Eat Y'all. And it has the governors in here, the state office holders in here, and every representative and senator, and it's got recipes all through it. And a lot of the pictures in there, all the pictures in there came from, the antiques and things that I collect, because I'm an old soul and I collect those. My 57 Chevy, all that kind of stuff is in here. Well, this thing sold like hotcakes. The first day it went online, it sold out.
Wow.
And then it went through several printings, and it was just kept selling. And the only place that I know that has it now, the state sold out of them. My Blount County, Alabama Chamber of Commerce has a few copies of those left, because they bought a good many since I was from here. But anyway, that worked so well. And when it was over, I still had people saying, "I want your recipes. I want this, that, and the other." So all the recipes and stories I put in there are in this book, Happiness is Homemade, Y'all. And as well as new ones. I added a lot more stories and more recipes. So these are all my private ones. So anyway, it's been a joy, and it's been a treat, and it shows how much I love the state, because everything that was made off of this book went to support our state capitol. If you haven't been to our state capitol, the Alabama state capitol is gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful ones ever, and the money from this every bit of it was donated to help our state capitol. So it's just a labor of love to my state. And
that's how the Mark White Show wants to be seen as well. My show originates from Alabama, but I help people everywhere.
Yes.
People reach out to me from all parts of the country, all parts of the world, and I try to help them through the show. But I want them to know that this show originates from Alabama.
Yes.
I'm an Alabamian. I love my state. And we're just trying to do good, and also we can highlight the good people in our state too.
That's right.
And show the huge differences that they've made, not only in the state of Alabama or their community, but the entire country and the world, because we have some amazing people from the state of Alabama who've done some remarkable things.
We do. We love Alabama. But anyway, I will tell you, speaking about people all over the world, in different videos that I've done, I've had people from Australia and Scotland and Nova Scotia and just all different countries contact me. And that makes a difference too. Our little bitty thing that we're doing here in Alabama is going around the world.
Yes.
And I did a tater tot casserole one time, And I had people from both Australia and Scotland saying, what is a tater tot and where can I get one? And so it was interesting, and I loved talking to them about that.
Southern cooking in Australia and Scotland and Nova Scotia. That's nice.
That's right. That's right. Well, I thank you for being with us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
And you tell your wife and your little gal, your girl, that I said hello.
I will. Well, Cora's in school today.
Yes.
She goes to Athens Bible School. And then my wife, she sews.
Yes.
So she's doing alterations today. She wants to eventually stay at home and do alterations. I'm looking forward to that day because the dry cleaners is very hot this time of year.
Yes.
No air conditioning.
Oh no, bless her. Well, anyway, I'm going to send cool thoughts to her.
Thank you. Very cool.
But anyway, I'm going to thank Mark for being here, and I appreciate all y'all. And if you would share this so that other people can watch this.
And follow the Mark White Show. If you get a chance, you'll see children who have battles with cancer. You'll see people who need kidneys. You might see a house that's burned down and people need clothing. They need items, toiletries, things of that nature. We just want to help people. And if you have someone you know who needs help, there's a fundraiser that's happening, an organization that needs help, reach out to the Mark White Show and I will try to recognize them. I have several radio stations now in the state of Alabama that carry the program. I'm looking forward to hearing from you as well. So follow the Mark White Show. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can find me on YouTube. You can find me at danastandridge.com, and you can also find me on Facebook at Facebook Lives. But anyway, I'm going to tell you what I always tell you. The good Lord loves you, and I love you too. And y'all go out and have a really good day. Make you some easy, cheesy enchiladas, and go bless somebody with them.
Tune in tonight at 9 o'clock. You'll hear Dana.
Hear me talking again.
On the Mark White Show.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.